We'll give it about 20, 30 minutes for a few people to get on here and join.
20 to 30 minutes.
It's about how YouTube's doing it.
I mean, it really is.
Guys say that they'll try for 30 minutes to get on and it won't even let them on.
Like I have to go to the page, press videos before I'll even see that you're live.
Why don't you do that and throw it up in the groups?
I usually do.
Yeah. It's showing 0. I've been on 36, 37 minutes. It's showing 0 online.
Seconds. You've been
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah.
I see 3.
Same thing, but my 30 seconds is like a normal person's 30 minutes.
Bullshit.
Jason, what's up? Carter Lee, haven't seen you in a bit. What's up? Jake Patriot, what's going on? How are you? Byron, what's up? Southard, what's going on? Skidmore, Joshua French, Sakota, what's up? Sean Varela, what's up? Man, it's rolling fast now. Ellie Welding, what's up? Jonathan Cam, JT, how are you? 6035, Gunnar Pitzer, what's up? JT, you live in Camden? Is that you or is that a different JT? What's up? Future market down 1.4. Ways to go, I'm afraid. John, it didn't have any bearing at all on my weekend. Actually, I'll go so far as to say it didn't have any bearing at all on my entire month. And I mean, maybe it did. Maybe it did. Everything costs more. Your pay is less. You work more to make more. But I did everything I wanted to do today. And most of what I did today had to do with making things better in the future. Chuck, right on, man. Turner, what's up? 6035, is that your DC number? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. Lever gun rig is in the mail, right on. We shipped a ton of them. Just an update. Roger, Roger. Anybody see the swarm of autonomous all drones weaving through bamboo forest? It's not real. It's not real. Maybe it's real. I mean, I'm of the belief that anything they can show you science fiction wise probably can be done. But there's a lot of those videos around. Used to come on here all the time. Deleted all social media 6 months. Have to go on YouTube to see any videos. Hit up Amish Surplus Food Store yesterday. Scored 50 pounds of pasta for 15 bucks. Right on. So if it's Amish, you should see what you can get wheat for. I used to pay $35 a bag for 50-pound hard winter wheat. $65 seems to be the price now, and you're going to be happy about that price. So if you can find it for under that, fucking jump on it. And a lot of places, you know, they're going to add in shipping also. Finally got the pigs moved. Homemade cattle trailer work. Right on, man. Is there a hookup for used Harvest Right freeze dryer? There's not. If there was, I would have 2 more of them. We could realistically use 2 more full-size Harvest Right freeze dryers.
Absolutely.
Yep. So if there was a hookup, I would be all over it.
I could totally feed 2 more.
Different JT. All right, man. I always wondered that. I think I've even asked it before. All right, guys. We can talk about whatever you want. Make the conversation good, and we'll have this conversation. Otherwise, as you see, I'm a little late. I just came inside from outside, and I'm dirty, and I need a shower. So we can discuss whatever you want, but I cannot walk around here by myself. Aaron Two Chicks, what's up? Have you considered becoming a dealer for Harvest Right? I don't know how their dealer program works. We have an affiliate code, which means I tell you all about them. You go there. Do they get a discount?
No, so at this point in time, the only discount there is
More frugal.
Harvest Right is giving them a premium pump with their order. That's the only discount.
Premium pump, not
premium.
not the
Correct. So you get 20 or 30 loads instead.
Right. So I have an affiliate code. If you go to any of my videos or website or anything, and there's a link there, it clicks, it gives us a little portion of your sale. That's the only thing that's out there right now. That's the only thing they've done for years now. But what about a dealer? Like Home Depot has them. Tractor Supply has them.
I don't know if they have any sales or deals though.
They're got to have a wholesale price, or Tractor Supply wouldn't be for them.
Oh, I'm sure, but I would imagine that you're going to have
Yeah, probably.
hundreds of units.
Yeah, probably they're going to want dealer. We just changed our oil for the first time since getting it a month ago, right on. We've never changed our oil since getting it 3 years ago. As a kid, I would show my grandpa Shotgun News he subscribed to, and showed him all the military surplus rifles, MG42 Vickers, and told him to buy some, and he laughed at me. Yeah, man, that's what enemies foreign and domestic, man. It's a great story. Not enemies foreign and domestic. Unintended consequences. Unintended consequences. The character was buying guns right through the mail in that manner. Parents have farm supply business, and they are dealers for Harvest Right. If you become a dealer, you could get them for wholesale pricing. Well, we'll look at that, see what the opening order is. We'll see. When do I think I'll be making shooting mats? If you have a shooting mat on order, you will get one. If you do not have a shooting mat on order, I do not intend to make them. So go get you a shooting mat someplace. I don't know why we keep having this, better yet, I don't know why we have this conversation where dudes are like, hey, when are you making this thing? When the whole sentence should be, hey, I ordered this, when are you making this? Because you'd get two very different answers. If you need a shooting mat, go buy one. If you paid me for a shooting mat, we will be making your shooting mat. I don't intend to make shooting mats anymore. And if I do, they're going to triple in price. I'm telling you guys, all you guys that are like, I need this thing, I need this thing. If you see it someplace available, buy it. And what you're gonna come to find too is a lot of these places where you see them available, they're not available. So if you see places blowing stuff out that you think is useful to you, communicate with them. Do you have this? And then buy it. Like, there's places selling shit right now. It looks like they're going out of business, or they are selling such stuff at such a reduced rate. They're trying to hold on to stay in business. More and more food burning down, yes. Just the fact that 2 were struck by aircraft. Just the fact 3 were struck by aircraft. 3 were hit by aircraft now. You've got over 70 some have burnt down in the last 90 days. The numbers are through the roof. And when you search it, they say it's a conspiracy theory. Barden, how are you, man? Wisconsin pro-life office burned. Do you use something to stabilize the video while you're walking around? No, I don't. This is just an iPad, man. This is just an iPad. It's so big, I kind of keep it in the crook of my arm and have my hand on it. So like right now, I'm one-handed, one-armed. It's all on my right side. And then this here, this is 2 left and right. What color are the upcoming 308 rifle batch? Let's go look. I think they're multi-cam also. Initial order for my parents was a medium freeze dryer as a display model, but they're able to order everything from parts, pumps, and freeze dryer. Good to know, man. I will check that out, Jake. My theory is Russia's cyber attack on food processing plants causing fire. Yeah? Yeah? What what caused the airplanes to crash? What caused the how about this one? Was it the Russians that burnt down all the lumber mills last year and 2 years ago? Because there was 180 of those that burnt down. Stacked micro, tool bags. So you think the Russians, you don't think that it's more realistic that somebody within your own government is burning those down and blaming it on the Russians? You don't think that? Russia, who literally is a second world country. Russia.
They're busy doing their own shit, too.
Yeah, Russia, who is a second world country. Russia, who doesn't even have fucking telecommunications and internet like the United States has. Maybe, it's very fucking possible, man. Or maybe it's 2 or 3 or 4 people. Maybe it's all those illegal immigrants they brought in, right? We call them illegal immigrants, those terrorists, though, because it's not Mexicans that they're bringing across the border. Maybe it's all those fucking male-age combatants that they brought in who are burning down things. I didn't answer your 308 question. I don't see them. Typhon. Nope, these are split fronts. I don't know the answer to that, man. I know they were out here, or I certainly, excuse me, here they are. Multicam 308 micros. Looks like they're starting tomorrow. Weather manipulation planes. Down food plants, destruction, supply chain interruptions. Absolutely. Do you believe that they're putting things in chemicals and stuff into the weather? Do you believe that maybe you should have the capability to grow some of your stuff out of the weather? Do you think the bird flu, number one, do you think it's real? And if it's real, do you think it's man-made? You mean the ones on the terrorist watch list? Who they know, who they are? Yeah, those are the ones they know. Those are the ones they know. And do you think they just miraculously told you about it? Imagine how many they know about they're not telling you about. Glad to report the Russians have not attacked my raised bed. Exactly, man. China, Russian, Biden behind most of this destruction. I would say so. Do you believe that your government's been bought by China? Like all the drop boxes, right? Okay, so what's the movie out? 200 Mules or something? And they have all this video of all these fucking people posting all these ballots into the voting boxes, right? They have all these people putting all this extra shit in. The Republicans had that footage for the last 2 years. They haven't done anything about it. Farmers in Brazil not using much fertilizer due to price, expect 40% increase. They're reducing their fertilizer inputs by 25% this month. Where did I hear that? David Dubine, Adapt 2030, did a piece on it, and I think Yanasa Ventures spoke about it also. R&DRT, I don't know what that means. Our government here sold out to Russia and China years ago. Yeah, and is it even Russia and China, right? Is that really what it is? Or because the most insidious shit out there, at least for us, seems to be Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum, right? All these things that are happening. Agenda 21, which came and went, and most of it came to pass. Agenda 2030, right? Why are they buying up all the farmland, right? They're not buying up the farmland to use for farmland. They're buying up the farmland to not produce on, because vertical farming is the new keyword, right? Vertical farming is code word for bug protein. It's not vertical farming like you think with aero gardenings and aeroponics and aquaponics. It's not growing greens. It's not growing stuff like that. It is cricket protein, mealworm protein, because the same people buying all the farmland are super heavily invested into vertical farming. Amazon's doing it. They have buildings that are miles and miles long where they're growing bugs. Look it up. These are the same people that are buying up the massive amounts of farmland because they're putting the farmland out of production so that most of the population, when they can't go buy food, they will have no choice but to buy vertical farming protein, bug protein. You guys should see the size of the computer chip factory they're building out here in Arizona. It's the largest concrete footprint I've ever seen. Dehydrating mint and spearmint. Any tips or tricks to preserving herbs? There's definitely people better to ask than me. There's not a lot to it, but I would look on YouTube, man. I would look on YouTube. And once you have it dried, what are you going to do with it, right? So are you going to use the stems and the leaves once it's super dried, and then powder it up into a powder form, or use it in like a food processor so it comes out kind of in little flakes like you buy from the grocery store? My chickens eat bugs, so I guess I'm full of bug protein. Time to ditch the two parties we have. Yeah, it's all by design. It's all by design. Because you're Republicans and you're Democrats, the people that win and lose, it doesn't matter how much they look like they hate each other on television. They're still doing the same insidious shit together. They were all on Epstein Island. They're still all at the fundraisers and the parties. While they're all doing their bullshit with the mask, and then you see the pictures of them all with their masks off, they're all playing the same game. They just need you on one of the teams. They don't care which team you're on. They just need you on one of the teams. Dehydrate my herbs and store it in bottles and use. Crush into flakes. Stores just fine. Paris, Tennessee. What's up? Soylent Green. How does SOE ship it? U.S. mail, man. U.S. mail. You order it. We ship it U.S. Priority mail, and it goes everywhere in the world. Put the mint in a mason jar and vacuum seal it. Good or bad idea? Birmingham, Alabama, raising a bird or a rabbit in an unused garage with no electricity. Recommendations, type of game. Why? In an unused garage. It's why? Like in your neighbor's garage next door where nobody lives, or just an old garage? I mean, you can totally do it. You could totally do it. Why put it inside though? Alabama, it's gonna be fucking hot in the summer, right? Why inside? Because are you like in an HOA or someplace where you're not supposed to have it, so you're hiding it? Totally understand. Otherwise, I don't know why. Because I love rental. There we go, rental suburb. I lived in San Diego. Wasn't supposed to have stuff like that. I had ducks, I had rabbits, and I had chickens in a major city in San Diego. There was probably 16 homes on my one street, and there were neighbors. Our lots were good size, like our backyards were pretty big, but we weren't anything like a quarter acre or anything. We were just in a normal city. There was an elementary school at the end of the street. There were tennis courts within a 5-minute walk from me. We had all that stuff, and that was, 20 years ago probably. I clip the leaves off the stems, keep the leaves whole, and sprout the stems to grow more. Man, if you're doing mint and spearmint and peppermint, you do not need to worry about saving anything to do more. It is like an invasive species. It just takes over. If you've ever had mint in any raised bed ever anywhere, come time to plant the next year, as soon as it warms up, that whole bed will be full of mint. I've got 2 beds outside full of mint. You can't even see the ground, any of the soil in there. It will just take over. Biggest mistake most preppers make. Water's free while it comes out of your faucet. Water's free. Fill containers. When storing any liquids, the bigger the volume, the cheaper the container costs. So all these guys worried about storing fuel in 5-gallon gas cans. It's great. I probably have, I'm probably close to 100 cans in 5-gallon cans, NATO cans, right? Everybody totally overthinks fuel storage. If you're putting it in good metal 5-gallon cans, they expand and they contract. They can't off-gas. So you don't need to worry about all the bullshit, right? Everybody's so fucking worried about finding a nozzle that fits their gas can when you shouldn't be fucking around with a nozzle anyways. If it's a nozzle, it's somewhat rigid, or it's going to kink if it's not. And you've got 5 gallons, so you have what, 35 gallons of weight that you have to move up over the pour spout, wherever it's at. You should be using a jiggler siphon. All of your problems go away. Past that, bulk fuel storage. You can get those 15-gallon drums for like Pepsi syrup and shit. They look like little 55-gallon drums. You could also use 55-gallon drums. Clean them out, let them dry, fill them with gasoline, and seal them up. Not a problem. But the 55-gallon ones, your wife can't move them. You are hard-pressed to move them. You can move them on a dolly, on a drum dolly, but you can't roll that on gravel. It's very difficult to move a 55-gallon drum of liquid, even with a really good dolly with big wheels on gravel. So smaller is easier to maneuver. Water's free when it comes out of your faucet. It already comes chlorinated. You don't need to do anything with it other than put it in a sealed container. Buy your calories, grow your protein, meaning grow chickens or rabbits. Rabbits are awesome. Chickens are awesome too. Chickens give you eggs almost immediately every day. Rabbits, you're going to grow them up. The rabbit poop is as valuable as the rabbit meat. Consider it meat on the hoof. So even if you're not using it, you always have it if you need it, if you continue to breed them. You can feed both rabbit and chicken to dogs. You can feed them whole animal, raw. A lot of people have this perception that you can't give chicken bones to dogs and cats, and that's cooked chicken bones you can't. You can give them raw and they will eat it. But buy your calories, right? Rice is super cheap. Even though it's twice as much as it was a few years ago, it's still super cheap. If you had to go buy a 50-pound bag of rice, you're going to be hard-pressed a lot of places to find a 50-pound bag of rice. I was at Sam's Club yesterday, and they had maybe 12 bags of 25-pound rice. I have not seen a 50-pound bag of rice at Sam's Club in over a year now, probably. There was one in Clarksville where they did have some 50-pound bags of rice, but for the most part, you're going to find 25s. So go get 2 25-pound bags of rice, and then figure out what it would take you to grow that much rice. You're not going to grow rice here. I mean, they do like in fucking Texas and Alabama and some places. Sure, they flood and grow rice. As a byproduct, they also grow crawfish in the same fields. When they drain, they go through and they pull out a lot of crawdads and they sell bags of crawfish. But here in Tennessee, on my property, I'm not growing rice. I'm also not growing wheat. And I can buy that shit. I can buy wheat or rice right now, put it in Mylar bags, put it in buckets, and 50 years from now when I'm dead, my relatives can still use that rice and that wheat. How are you storing hard wheat? Buckets, man. Buckets. I have shit in buckets so far back that they're not even in Mylar bags. But I have plenty of stuff also in Mylar bags in buckets. Tons and tons of fucking buckets. Just got rid of an above ground pool and found tons of crawfish. Just got rid of where were they? Above ground pool is something else for you guys too. Like if you want to store a massive volume of water, an above ground pool is a good way to do it. You can have a lot of water in there and you don't even have to use it. Like you could put fish in that motherfucker, have a pond, and you still got a ton of water that you can, run a downspout off the roof to top the pond off, and then have another, piece coming out the side for overflow. And you can use that water. You could bail out of there with 5-gallon buckets and still water all your gardens. The big giant pond we put in the back was about water catchment. It wasn't about wildlife. The wildlife has just showed up. Is there a reason we go with jasmine rice? Yeah, it's just a little fancier. I don't care what kind of rice you go with. That was the 50-pound bags they had was jasmine. So like we've bought hundreds of those bags. But I don't care what kinds you get. Do not get like brown rice. It's got a little more oil content to it. It'll go rancid over time. wheat berry grinder recommendation that is not terribly expensive. You get what you pay for. I have a Country Living grain mill. It's the gold standard. It's like the All-American of canners, right? I don't know what it costs now. It used to cost $375, and I have a bean auger for it. I also have a longer extension arm. I can hook it up to an exercise bike or bicycle on a stand and grind in that manner too. But I mean, you can. I've heard people say that you can get, wheat grinders. I think it's important to get an all-metal wheat grinder. I don't know. I haven't really shopped them. I can tell you that a $250 General Electric power one makes better flour than most of your hand cranked ones. And while we're preparing for the end of the world, I can tell you that I'm 50 years old and I've yet to see an EMP happen. I've yet to live any extended time without electricity. Prepare for it, hope it never happens. But I mean, on a day-to-day basis, you're most likely to still have electricity. So far we have. And I go off of the 50 years that I've been alive to base that comment on. Hand crank grinder, man. Go buy you a $100 one. See how it works. And if you're not happy with it, go buy you the gold standard, the Country Living, and then have that second one as a backup should you need it. Why don't you just drill a well? What happens if your water table changes and your well doesn't work? And have you drilled a well? Most wells around here are anywhere, and we have fucking water, like I can dig a hole and get water here. But most of your wells around here start at $7,000. I'm absolutely not opposed to doing a well. We have called 3 well companies. We have had 3 appointments and not a fucking single one of them showed up. I do need a well. I would love to have a well. But I have a 3 million gallon hole that's full of water already in the back of the property. And I have another one up top the hill also. Will brown rice go rancid in Mylar ox? Yes. It's the oils. Yeah. You might slow it down. It's just like doing flour, right? Store wheat berries, not flour. You vacuum down those Mylar bags you put into the 5-gallon buckets. Yes, it vacuums itself down. You'll see all kinds of stuff online about how much O2 absorber you need. I'm of the belief use more than you need. I want to put about 3,000 cc's in there, and I'm going to push all the air out I can. I'm going to impulse seal it, and then it's going to suck that down. For you guys that don't know, you can get the big hand warmers also. Those are iron oxide. It's a chemical reaction, and it will, those are O2 absorbers. It'll pull the oxygen out. Pretty common for a well to run 15 to 20 grand mid-Missouri, yeah. Wells are expensive to drill, and in my area, it's worse than pulling teeth to get a permit. I don't think I need a permit here. Like, we don't have any codes, we don't have any zoning. There are a lot of people putting wells in. How about generator brand recommendation? Don't cost a crap load. I have Hondas. I have Hondas, a lot of Hondas. With that said, for the price you pay for a Honda, you could buy 3 Champions. And then again, there it is again, right? How much are you going to use that thing, right? I'm 50 years old. I've owned several generators. My most recent generator purchase, I bought a 2200 IU Honda, and I bought a 7500 IU. Both whisper lights, both sine wave, so I can run the most sensitive electronics off of them without concern. And I haven't used either of them for real. We've test loaded them, we cycle them, we use them. Haven't had a power outage where I've had to use them since I've owned them in the last 3 years. Prior to that, I own Honda 2000s, which I still have, also I use. And I own Honda 1000s. We had the power out at our house for 10 days, probably 10 years ago. Power was not out at the shop. We came to the shop, everybody took showers at the shop, the old shop, and everybody just hung out there. We would go home at night, and I would run that generator, that 1000, and I would run it between the freezer and the refrigerator. I'd run a couple hours on the freezer, a couple hours on the refrigerator. And while we were up at night, we would also plug in the entertainment system, which was a big flat screen TV and a surround sound system and a DVD player, and we would watch movies. And then at night, we would turn that shit all off and we would run 2 window AC units. And then we would just do it again. You can't go wrong with Honda. You're never going to wish you'd have bought something less expensive. If you look right after every major storm, you will find people selling Honda 1000s and 2000s. I think they're both great to have. The 1000 is lighter and more portable and will do a lot of what you need to do. They both have an eco mode on them, so at night you can run them very quietly. It kicks the power down until the draw comes in, and then it kicks the power up, but it's very quiet, so your neighbor doesn't know you have it. Now, if we're talking into the world kind of shit, right, or you have big commercial freezers, then you're going to need a bigger, gen set. You're going to want something, and if you have natural gas, you might want to run off natural gas because natural gas typically costs less. It's definitely less than propane, and for the most part, almost usually during any emergency, it does not go off. Now, with that said, I would still have a big backup, and I'm talking about a gen set like fucking Walmart has. I'm talking like a big generator set. All of your cell phone towers have a generator set on them, and they go by hours, and they test load those things and run them every couple months, and they sell those off. You can buy those on the secondary market. So pick your color, right? You want Kohler? Do you want Generac? Do you want Caterpillar? What do you want? And then you can buy military generator sets that typically come bolted to a trailer with the wheel sets on them already. And for $4,000, you can buy you a pretty big ass generator that's going to be a diesel generator. And military runs diesel because diesel stores. You do not have the problems. It's also not explosive like gasoline is. Salad I buy at Publix in Florida just went from $6.99 to $7.99 overnight. You're going to see that continue to happen. Every time I buy material, my price goes up every single time. Like, I don't have a quoted material price right now. I order material and they tell me what it's going to cost that day, and then they ship it that day or the next day. That's how everything is happening. If you're still buying stuff that has not gone up in price, that company is going out of business that you're buying from. That's what you don't realize yet. Everything goes up in price. You just don't know it. Does the military not use multi-fuel engines anymore? Jake, I'm sure they do, but what does multi-fuel mean, right? So a diesel, you can put gasoline in a diesel motor. You can put motor oil in a diesel motor. That's what multi-fuel meant. So dual fuel, multi-fuel means you can run diesel or JP8 or whatever it is, right? You probably know better than I do. I don't know the answer to that. Most Walmarts in my area don't have backup generators. Yes, they do. Maybe you know something that I don't, but yes, they do. They do. I promise you they do. Drive around the building, go look at the building. There is a gen set there. They sit on 120,000 gallons of fuel also. Walmart is not fucking Walmart. Unless maybe you have little Walmarts or something, which Walmart's closing down all those little convenience store Walmarts, right? They're closing down all those competing with Dollar General and shit. They're little ones. But all the main Walmart is built to be infrastructure. They're the biggest partners of Homeland Security that they have, right? That they supply tons of shit to Homeland Security, and Walmart is meant to be government wartime infrastructure. It always has been. What you might not realize is Walmart, the Walmart family, they ran all the fucking prison camps during World War II inside the United States and outside also. Right on, we shouldn't have any water issues. Don't know what we're talking about there, especially if it's a well for irrigation. Honda has the best quality. Yes, but Honda's patents have run out on a ton of shit. That's why you're seeing all those mini bikes that look just like the XR50s. It's because they're just like the XR50s. They're not Honda built, they're China built. But for the import, they're able to import them because the patents are expired. That's how all the sewing machines and stuff work too. Look at these little motherfuckers. So there's a ton of them out there, and there's the big one. There's a couple. There's two stacked on top. There's one beside. There's a couple more back in there. But the champions are good enough. Generac has a copy of that Honda EU like that. It's just orange. There's some yellow ones out there. Pick your color. You're going to pay about half as much. Is it a Honda? It's not. But how much are you really going to run that thing? And as long as you change the oil, have some spare spark plugs, when you stop running it, turn the fuel off and let the fuel run out so it burns all the fuel out of the carburetor, so you don't have your carburetor all gummed up a year from now when you haven't taken care of it and you really need it. And you need a maintenance. You need a maintenance schedule, right? Where every 30 days or every season you pull that out and you run through it. So try to store it with very little fuel in the tank, and let the fuel run out of the carburetor. Harbor Freight Predator ones are Honda clones. They are. And that's the point, right? I'm of the belief buy the best. But there's a lot of dudes who aren't going to go and spend $2,000 on a generator. Would I rather them need a generator and not have it because they didn't buy the best? Or would I rather them get something kind of equivalent for a quarter of the price? And maybe you'd be better off, maybe you would be better off taking $2,000 and buying 4 pretty close to the power. And a lot of them are overrated. A lot of those cheapies don't put out the actual power, whereas Honda is actually underrated. Honda actually will hit all those peaks. So like a compressor on a refrigerator or freezer, or a motor that's going to spin up, right? When you start a saw, there's a peak and then it kind of stabilizes. Yeah, have extra fuel lines. Have cutoffs on the fuel lines. If they don't, put a fuel line cutoff in there. Biggest generator I've seen had a C18 Caterpillar. That's like 800 horse monster. They actually had 2 of them on site at the building. Generators are behind concrete. Yeah, they all have them. Every Walmart has one. I promise you. Just like every police department has one, every sheriff's station, every hospital, they're there. You just don't realize they're there. Shallow well with a hand pump. Look up Amish well. They have it's a tube. It's a tube that goes down in there, and you can pull it up by hand if you need to, or you can even wind it up like you think of an old traditional well, but it's a long tube that brings up a tube full of water. All right, guys, I'm going to start turning these lights off. There's 72 of you on here and only 58 thumbs up. I need you to hit that thumbs up. I see a lot of people on here having conversations. I don't recognize your names, so I assume you're new, relatively new. I do these videos almost every night. We put up multiple pieces of content every single day on YouTube, which is where you're watching this. We put up a little different content on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm also on Gitter and MeWe and Locals and Float. So if you're looking for me, it's impossible not to find me. I'm most active on Facebook and Instagram though. So join and leave a thumbs up for us. And I do these every night around 9 o'clock. People don't understand inflation is tolerated until it's not. Then what? Remember, you're only 9 meals away from Armageddon. So a lot of people say that. I actually live that, right? I left the cities. I shut down, left San Diego, where I had an infinite amount of labor supply. I moved to the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, and I live in the manner that I want to live in. So a lot of people say that, but it's like they don't believe it because they don't take any action to fix that. John Jones, hopefully he gets some gear right on. Check out John SOE also on the True Live with Nicole Sauce. My hay elevator is pretty demanding of only 5 horsepower. It could honestly use more like 8. Jose, what's up, buddy? And anybody having this conversation, we have the Self-Reliance Festival here, the third one. The third Self-Reliance Festival is June 11th and 12th. You can come see everything that we talk about. I think it's important that when people ask you advice and you give them advice that their life could one day depend on, I think it's very important that you have proof of that, right? And I think that having watched so many YouTube channels, when you finally come to meet these people, they are not what you thought they were. So I think it's important to just, walk around and show on video what we do. And when you come to one of our events, all the stuff we talk about, it's here, right? Like we actually live that. We come to find out a lot of these YouTube channels where they're doing all these homestead and farm stuff, they don't even live there. Like they live in town. It's like a studio for them. And they've got a bunch of people there that you never see on camera. Like we do all this shit by ourselves. We occasionally have people in to help. But our events, it's not like you come here and dig holes and help us build shit, right? Our events are actual events. We've got some 20 guest speakers coming in this time from all over the United States, people that are the top of their industries. And you can talk to these guys who have done all of this stuff. And we have evidence of all of it here, right? You can come here and walk around the entire property and see the projects that we do. Will we planting the fig trees? No, the fig trees are planted. We're in. Fig trees are planted. Nick Ferguson will be here next week, next Friday, Saturday. On Thursday, I've got a mini X coming in. I'm going to trench my culvert. It's just dirt, right? It's just a dirt trench that evacuates the water off the property and keeps it from flooding over into the gravel driveway. I'm digging that. I'm digging that about 16 inches deeper, so that the holes I dug just uphill, about 20 inches away, I'm going to connect those to that trench and backfill them with gravel. So all those, we're putting in 70 some fruit trees, but I need them to be able to evacuate the water. The ground is very clay, so the roots can dig down or whatever, but those immediate holes that we've dug, we did an auger, dug them out with an auger. We're going to connect them to the trench, and then Nick Ferguson's going to be in, and I think I've got a friend coming in that's going to help with that also. And we're going to cut all these swales. We're putting in swales all down the, it's about an acre of property on the front top side of the property where we used to run the razors down. It was part of the motocross track there. But we're taking all of that and putting swales in. Every 9 foot, there's a swale on a 0 degree level. So those will all be fodder trees. We're putting in a ton of trees just to use for animal feed. What type of fruit trees? Several different varieties of peaches, several varieties of apples, peaches, I think I've got some more plums out there. I think that's it. The figs are already in, though. We've got a lot of figs in the ground. How are we going to deal with dead trees around the pond? The pond in the back is a giant hole, so I'm not concerned with it. We'll just pull those trees down. But the trees in the dam up top are dead, and the dam is leaking. That whole entire pond is going to have to be deconstructed. It's going to. I'm gonna just have to hire somebody that can do that shit, that knows how to it should be built, and have them come in and unfuck it. It's going to be very expensive, and it's going to be a mess. If I could go back and do anything different, I would have staggered planting different sets of trees at different times. Why is that? Why not just continue to plant trees every year? My chicken tractor, I bought a badass chicken tractor. It's still getting delivered here Tuesday at 9 in the morning. And then all the birds that are inside go out on grass. So that'll be awesome. That'll be totally awesome. And then we'll move them around and they'll start working the soil even more. I need 2 more rabbit tractors. I'm going to find somebody to build those, very similar to the ones we have. And when I say, hey, who wants to build some chicken tractors, you'll have 10 guys say, yeah, I'll do it. But then you'll get them and they won't be stable, right? I need them stable, like a piece of furniture that will last, 10 years. So I got to find the dude that will do that. And that's not like nailed together. Those are screwed together. We paint all the wood before we ever build any of it so that it's sealed even where they butt up, so that the wood lasts longer. It's just little shit like that. I'm just looking for the right guy. Do I have rabbits to sell? Yeah, Philip, I'll sell you some rabbits. I have a ton of rabbits. Oh, my fruit trees are hitting mature age and dying off. That's when. How old are they, man? How old are they? Love the shotgun rig. Right on, man. Right on. We bought 9 baby chicks, all the same size. Black ones are twice the size of the others. They look like T-Rexes, twice the size of the other ones. Just that breed, I suppose. Or maybe you have Banties. Maybe your white ones are little Banties, depending where you bought them, right? Like Tractor Supply had a ton of Banties. 20, 25 years. Yeah, Tyler, man, you got to put in trees every couple of years. Think anything happening with Russia's May the 9th? I don't know, Frank. I have no idea, man. I listen to the same stuff you're listening to. I listened to several videos talking about that today. And I looked at Amanda. I go, well, a lot of people are going to be right tomorrow morning, or a lot of people are going to be wrong. Because what time is it in Russia right now? Like, we should already know what the answer is. Planning on building a chicken tractor out of pipe that we use for continuous panel fencing. We'll use 4-wheeler to move them. Right on. Right on. I've got a drag behind 10 by 10 PVC we used, and it's difficult to pull. I just went with something much simpler to move, and it's very rigid. It's TIG welded aluminum. It's very expensive, but it's badass. Guy here in Florida started building large greenhouses with 4-story office-looking buildings on his private property. Any idea what it could be? Oh, I don't know. Sounds awesome, though. Guy in Florida started building large greenhouses. 4-story office. Huh. Cinnamon Queens and Leghorns. And the black ones were straight runs. Leghorns. That's white meat birds, right? Those are meat birds, aren't they? They should be the big ones, I thought. Google user, what's up? They're dwarfs, technically, which have even shorter lifespan. Oh, got it, yeah. I have a lot of dwarf stock here. How does the Milwaukee blower compare to the Cobalt? I don't know. The Cobalt blower is fucking badass, man. I've got one right here, right? When you hit that turbo thing, it's awesome. I do not have a Milwaukee blower. I have some Milwaukee vacuums, these little shop vacs, and this thing's awesome too. Love it. Our Ear Pro cases, one and done, never again. Brian, we put them up Friday night for sale. And then Saturday morning, I raised the price $5 on them. And I'm probably going to lock them down tomorrow. We will build some. There'll be a small amount of extras in it, depending how many on. Like if we have 100 on order, I'll build 25 extras, and then it'll be locked down. I don't know why guys do that, right? They want this thing, they see this thing. We build a shitload of them. They don't order it, and then they fucking want to ask every week, hey, when you making lunch bags again? Man, we made lunch bags for 6 fucking months. Like everybody had a chance to get a lunch bag. Everybody wants it when they can't have it. When they can have it, they don't give it. It's not urgent enough for them to buy it. So the real answer is I don't know. Next week, I'll probably come up with some other thing, and we're going to do the same deal again. We've got a whole run of lever gun rigs we're going to build, I think, this week. And then we're probably going to run some NSW rigs. But I don't know, man. That could change in the next 15 minutes. That could change. Everywhere I've gone to get the Milwaukee vacuum is out of stock. Home Depot has them. Now, maybe yours doesn't. But Home Depot's, I've been happy ordering on HomeDepot.com. They pull from the nearest store. And I'll order today from Home Depot, and that damn thing will come in here tomorrow. And I don't have a Home Depot. The nearest Home Depot from me is over 100 miles. I have the Cobalt one, but my charger had to be replaced once. It definitely works great cleaning out. It's great for the trailer. I blew through the greenhouse with it yesterday. But I've got multiple chargers, Jose. So I've got, I have the hedge trimmer, the string trimmer, the lawnmower, the blower, and the chainsaw. So I have 5, and the batteries are all interchangeable. Like you might not want to put the bigger battery into some of the products, just because it's so heavy. You might not need that much juice, but they'll fit. 6:30 in Russia. Good time for a vodka shot. For them, good time for bourbon drink for us. Spent a bunch on graduation for the daughter. I understand price increase. Was hoping it stayed. Possibility with no arrival date. I don't know the answer to that. No, we're really not turning shit on anymore. Where guys order and wait for it. Any good electric weed eaters? I have the Cobalt one. I feel like it's undergunned. I have not used any of the other string trimmers, but I can tell you Steel makes electric power equipment in their commercial line, so I would bet that it's fucking badass. Husqvarna also does now, and then Oregon's got like Oregon chainsaws. I think they've got some stuff. I think Echo. California banned all gas equipment. Like I don't think they can sell any gas-powered lawn equipment in California. And depending on municipality, you can't even use half the shit you have there if you live in certain places or do business in certain places. So I think you're going to really see the electric-powered stuff jump in quality. 18 Volt Shopvac Milwaukee is awesome. They make attachments for hammer drills and saws. Yeah, I've seen that. So this is the 18 volt shop vac, the handheld, and it's got a little chamber filter in there. This is awesome. I've got the 12 volt also. The 12 volt, because it's skinnier, has more suction, but because it's skinnier, you can't suck up anything really with it. Are you guys going to run the Give Me Liberty shirt? No, we don't run shirts twice. We run them. We have them. You buy them when you see them, or you know that they're never coming back. We run shirts once, and almost never do we rerun a design. When you can't make it to China or Russia, try California, the other communist state. I like it. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a great night.